All right, and thank you for joining the Houston ACE. Today we're going to talk about building culture and productivity with Jira plus AI. All right. My name is Anthony D'Ambrosio. I'm one of the ACE leaders here. I'm also joined by Ben Garcia, one of my co-hosts as well. We'll be hosting this event on behalf of Gaspar and Appsvio. Joe and Larry are our other co-leads. They're not able to make it today. All right. So again, thank you for joining, and let's talk about what's ahead. So first going to do a little thanks goes a long way by Magdalena from Appsvio. Then we'll proceed with reimagining the workplace productivity with AI by Christos from Gaspar AI. And at the end, we'll have Q&A sessions. We'll have a closing, and we also have a lot of raffles and giveaways for the event. At any time, if you would like to scan any of the QR codes, that'll bring you to the Houston ACE Linktree page with all our resources and future events. Again, we'll be joined by Magdalena and Ola from Appsvio and Christos from Gaspar. All right, I'm going to hand it off to Ola and Magdalena at this point, but we want to thank them both for sponsoring along with Haiku for this event today.
Thank you, Anthony. Let us just share the screen and our presentation, and I think we can kick off. Do you hear us? Do you see the screen? That's the most important.
Yep, we hear you, and we
and
see
you can see. Okay, so perfect. Let's go. So just like Anthony said, today we will be presenting some insights from the Made My Day program, and we are actually going to prove to you that a little thanks does go a long way. So before we actually start, let us introduce ourselves. So who are we? My name is Ola, just as we were introduced, and I am a marketing copywriter. And this is Magda, and she is HR business partner in Appsvio. And if you're wondering who is Appsvio, we are actually a team that gathers people who are adventurous and passionate. This is just a part of them. It's hard to get a group photo. Actually Made My Day was created just for them because we wanted to become even a better team, a stronger team. And as we know, with a strong team, we realize that anything's possible. Even taking bold steps becomes easier. So much so that we decided to venture into a new area of solution, and we are a new app. This is just a quick side away here. So we are introducing ATM, Appsvio Test Management. It's a first 100% Forge test management tool. And if you would just be interested in it, join us for these seminars on 24th or 26th of June. And moving forward to the actual presentation. So what are we going to talk about? So first, we are going to give you this brief introduction to the road of our values and the gratitude system itself. Later, we are going to move into practical aspects of Made My Day, and we're going to finish up with conclusions and opinions about the program. Before we start, a quick disclaimer. So Made My Day is part of our feedback culture. We do actually have multiple one-on-one meetings, performance reviews, even fuck-up times to recognize our mistakes and keep growing and evolving. So this is just part of our feedback, mostly part of our feedback that focuses mostly on positive reinforcement. And actually moving forward to the promised introduction. So the hike for values, why choosing values is so important. So the big boom of employee branding actually started a couple of years ago because as it turns out, even the most technical companies, they do need a human spirit within them. So there was this demand, and supply followed naturally, and companies for the sole purpose were created, with their main aim being creating cohesive branding. And a first step to that has always been, first of all, choosing and later successfully implementing the values. So they tried to do that, right? They were hired for it. And what actually happened, they got this huge pushback from the employees. And it was a boggling situation because values are supposed to be guidelines in our daily work life. So why they were getting so many negative feedback on that topic? And as it turns out, each of us has this personal set of values. And if somebody just tries to even put us in a box that doesn't fit, it's very tough for us to try to mend to that box. So it's not going to work out. So knowing all of that, mixed with our personal experiences, along with our attitude, we were embarking on the same journey. the start of our journey. So first of all, we needed to choose values and later on successfully implement them. And we really didn't want to make the same mistakes as the company before us.
Yeah, and we needed to choose our values wisely. That was very important for us. So as you can see on this photo, this is us, the Appsvio team at the time, and I was just a new HRBP with a few months of experiences. And why the joy? Because we have just democratically chosen our company values. Whatever we selected was about to influence every single one of us. So it was only natural that everyone participant in this choice. I created a whole 2-month-long process, which included various training sessions, and all of this was done in order to prepare each employee and give them a base to make right decision. And this photo was taken during the trip, the final piece of the puzzle in this process. So for me, it was obviously that all values need to be a reflection of everyone in the company. So everyone was engaged in this process. The final stage of the process took place on a trip, and that was great situation because we could be each other face to face and we could feel all atmosphere during this workshop. And the first thing on the workshop, it was presentation of personal sets of values, and every one of us need to present a presentation about individual value system. So that was very honest and beautiful time between us. And the last thing, it was anonymous and democratic voting. And as you can see on the photo, we chose 5 the most important values for all of us. And it was a moment of immense satisfaction and great joy. I don't remember who I was prouder of, whether it was my colleagues or myself, but it truly was a moment of glory and triumph and big satisfaction for all of us. And do you think that it was enough? No, it wasn't that simple. The emotions settled, joy turned into routine, and a few months later, no one of us remembered the democratically chosen values. In reality, they only exist on our Confluence, and I'm not pointing fingers at anyone. I was a part of this too. We could have officially announced the natural death of our values. Before my eyes, what I feared the most was happening. And in my mind, the question kept going, how could I have let this happen? As it turns out, bringing values to life can be compared to learning foreign languages or simply learning anything. Knowledge that we use regularly stays with us, and what doesn't find application in our daily lives is forgotten. And that's exactly what happened here. Writing down our company's values isn't enough to bring them to life and integrate them into our daily work. So, okay, we agreed that something had to be done about it, but what? This task didn't seem as simple anymore, and finding a solution kept tormenting my mind for a long time. And finally, we've got a breakthrough. What if we try holding employee accountable for applying values in their work, for being in line with them? This evaluation takes place during performance review meetings. And as you can see, the table on the slide is a real one that has been used. Each employee and manager got to rate their value application with score 5 to 1, 1 being the lowest. And what do you think? Was that a wonderful solution? Yeah. In our company, we have fuck up time at the team level, and it is a special time during which we share our problems, our mistakes, and ways of solving them. So the table which I showed you before, it was the biggest fuck up in my career. So which I did it was my fuck up time with all of you guys. So thank you. You should be appreciated. You could see it. And now I will tell you why didn't it work? Why couldn't it work? It turns out that each manager has a completely and different understanding and interpretation of the value themselves. And not to mention that everyone had their own philosophy about assigned points. But the worst part, in my opinion, it was that we were spending a lot of time on those tables and we didn't receive any valuable information. So naturally, I apologize to the participants after the event and wanted it to be forgotten as quickly as possible. It was time to move on. And just like with any incident, analyze what had happened, understand my mistakes, and try to find another solution.
Yeah, so I think at that time it was safe to say that we were thinking, and but I also think that failure is the most human thing ever, the most human experience you could ever have. You can wallow in it, but there comes a time when you have to get back out there, right? You have to come up with a reasonable solution that is going to keep you moving forward. But the problem arises when your mind just keeps going to the direction that you know won't work anymore. And in these cases, we believe as a company, as Appsvio, that it's time to turn to people or companies also who you look up to the most. And for us, it always has been Atlassian. And in this story, especially Alicja Karp.
So probably all of you wondering, who is Alicja Karp? Alicja, she is a strategic partner manager in Atlassian, and we met Alicja during a visit to Atlassian's office in Amsterdam, and that was very interesting experiences because the meeting of Alicja just confirmed our feelings. Their values were used consciously and being treated as tools for appreciating someone's work, of reminding them that they may be heading in the wrong direction. And that was something very fresh for me, and it just showed me that we can treat values like a tool, and that was a game changer in my opinion for me. So when I started has problem with introduce our company values, I just wrote to Alicja asking for help, and she answered, and we have a very long conversation, and it was the conversation which opened my eyes. She was sharing her experiences of bringing values to life and explained their system, and just she helped clear my mind. And now all I will tell you the most important conclusion from this conversation.
Yes, so after that talk, we actually could draw up these three main points that inspired our system, that kept us moving forward with the system. So first of all, we realized that in order to revive our values, they needed to be bound to any kind of promotional system. There has to be some kind of connection established. Another thing is the values themselves have to be promoted systematically. And finally, whatever system we come up with, it has to be accessible and transparent to everyone who uses it. So taking all of these 3 points, we created Made My Day. And we've been having lots of theory. So we will be moving you guys right now to practice. So we mentioned that at first we gathered all of these 3 points, created the system, and the first stop on our roadmap was actually writing down the guidelines and the system assumptions on our Confluence page so that it's transparent and visible to everyone else. And now we realized that, okay, so we have this idea on a piece of paper or on a page in Confluence, but how do we make it a reality? And here, Chris, our CEO, he came up and said that we're obviously going to use Service Desk. And it was actually an obvious idea because everybody in our company uses Service Desk. It's present in our daily lives, and it's the place we frequent the most, right? So it's the most natural space to use it. So that's why JSM was chosen for this task. And finally, we had this question, okay, so how do we make these thank you messages, these kudos, visible to everyone? And here actually Slack automation came up. So right now the messages are automatically sent to our main Appsvio Slack channel. And the word kudos keeps popping up here and there. I assume that you guys know what it means. If no, just please just tell me, scream, shout, and we will explain. And moving forward, so we mentioned some kind of rules, right, on the Confluence page. So what are those? First of all, kudos is just a part of our feedback culture, and we will just keep reinforcing that statement. Another thing is, kudos is always a possibility, but not an obligation. You can give kudos during the month, but you don't have to do it. Also, they are given from everyone to anyone. So everyone in the system is equal. It doesn't matter if you're a manager or an employee. And also, if we are deciding to thank somebody this month, we are only taking the actions from the past 30 days. So we give kudos in regards to the current month only. And finally, each thank you message comes with a financial benefits to the recipient of the thank you message. So how do you actually give kudos with JSM? You're probably wondering, and what do you do this in practice? So first of all, you have to go into Appsvio Service Desk, go into employee services and choose give kudos. And once you're actually there are 3 steps to send kudos. First, you have to choose the company value, and this is a drop-down menu where we have our values shortly described. So I think it's always a good reminder each month if you want to give a message, what our values are. Another thing is, of course, select the person you want to thank. And finally, please explain yourself and also just put some heartwarming words into the description. All of this is going to be visible on Slack, so also please make it appropriate. And once you hit send, you actually see the request view right now on JSM that we have managed to spice up a little bit with our extension. It's called Feature Bundle. So we have added this cute banner, as you can see, because we're always just happy that people are using the system and that the system is put into practice. But I think that's my favorite feature here. So we are sharing a simplified workflow of the ticket so that just people know the journey the kudos have to go through. So first, as you can see, each step is shortly described. And first we have the under review. We are just checking if your message contains all of the basics. We are not censoring anything. Later, if it moves up to awaiting pay, this is the moment where you can actually see your thank you message on our Slack channel. So go react to it, see how people are reacting to it. I think it's always a very wholesome moment. And finally, when the request is moved to done, it's done. We are always just happy that you decided to use the system. And Magda, so how does it work from the admin perspective?
Okay, now we can jump into the admin perspective. Admin perspective is pretty easy too. This workflow contains from 3 basic stages: under review, awaiting pay, and done or reject. But I need to say that reject has never been used. It was just kind of backup when we created this workflow. We wasn't aware that every ticket, every content in the ticket will be understandability, will be communicative. So it was just backup, like I mentioned before, but we never used this option. So 3 basic stages: under review, awaiting pay, and done. And first step for me, I see a notification in my dashboard, and then I read the contents of the ticket, and then I change the status to awaiting pay and changing the status causes automation with Slack. And I will show you how it looks like. This is the automation with Slack. And after a second, all of us from our company, we can see this beautiful message on our Slack channel. So this is the last view, which is public to everyone.
Yes. So now that you know all of the ins and outs of the system, you're probably wondering were there any reasons to hesitate, right? And shortly, always, there are always some kind of reasons. We actually had a bunch of discussions, and I think multiple vital points were raised during those. First of all, we were wondering what kind of details of kudos should we be sharing. At first, we had this idea of sharing who is giving the kudos. JSM fixed that for us because as it turns out, you just cannot set it up. But it turned out for the better because right now the focus is shifted and it's all on just the thank you message that you receive. Another thing is will people feel obliged to say thank you back if they receive a thank you message during 1 month? Another thing is how will it be looked upon if you receive kudos from a manager, or vice versa, if you try to give kudos to the manager, how will it look like? How will people react to it? And finally, I think the best point, somebody raised this question, well, what if people just team up and try to, and give kudos just among themselves, among the team, their coalition. And I think all of these points are vital, like I just mentioned. But also we realized quickly that we cannot answer every question and every doubt that we had at that time until we start the program and we keep it live, and we'll see how it works in practice. So we did, and I think it was one of the best decisions ever because our Slack channel was just flooded with these beautiful thank you messages with kudos. This is just a part of them, and I think it's always really exciting to keep coming back to them even. But also the system does have its limitations, just like anything in life, and we are well aware of that. So first of all, this is just a part of our daily gratitude culture. What it means is that already at Appsvio, we have this I think a very solid base of gratitude in our daily work life, and quick messages, thank you messages, etc. And Made My Day is just another building block on top of that. Another thing is that we do realize we get to work in this special supportive environment with people who are honest, team working, and they just don't want to manipulate the system for the personal gain, even though it is of course possible. And these both aspects are actually a part of organization's culture. And the final thing that we do have to mention is that this system does require the company to allocate some funds within the budget, just to be transparent about that. So Magda, what actually is the system for us?
I too say that I apologize all of you guys because I am a creator, so it's very hard to be critical and it's very hard to be objective. So I treat this program like my child, so be patient. And I have been a loyal fan of the founder of Positive Psychology, Martin Seligman, for 20 years, and I am also living proof that his gratitude training is effective. Working with gratitude training is not easy because it requires systematic and changing the natural reflex of permanently remembering negative events, which we receive in order to survive. So it's a very strong mechanism, but don't worry, we do not lose this reflex. But through such a training, we make our brain register positive experiences just as strongly. And I really wanted all my colleagues to experience this transformation, and apart from treats, to see a whole lot of positive and beautiful things in their lives. And what is this system right now? Right now, I can say that this program is a kind of celebration and reminder of who I have the chance to work with. It's a way of appreciating our team and expressing a great deal of trust. And it's also an opportunity for reflection and realizing what's important to me. After 7-month operation with this system, I can say that I am an ambassador of we play on the same team value, and teamwork is the value which I promote the most. So.
Yes, and from a participant side, I can only speak for myself. I'm not a representative of the whole group, but definitely I do recognize that after these 7 months, it's a great chance to say thank you without any awkwardness and kind of allocate this time within a month to think who I want to thank and what I am thankful for too. I also think it's a kind of introduces this healthy element of rivalry, and it makes us strive for better every month. And as a recipient, I believe it's always surprising. I'm always positively surprised what people notice in my work. So I think it's also good feedback for yourself. And what have we gained as a team?
This is a very important question because we are not non-profit foundation, and every profit need to be visible and need to be important for us. So the first thing, which is very important, we know our values, we can name them. So mission accomplished. The second thing, systematic and positive feedback is visible in our company too. And before we started work with this program, it was impossible to motivate our managers to do it, to give systematic and positive feedback. So now it is, and it works. And the second thing, it's regular appreciation and reward of efforts, and this is very important to see how important sometimes some small things can be for in other people, and appreciation, it is something which we just exercise day by day. And the last thing, it is, in my opinion, the most important gain from this process, because in this system everyone is equal, and there are many problems between manager and team and manager, team and leader and manager, and in this system everyone is equal and everyone can feel like a leader, because need to find value, need to choose concretely person and explain his or her choice, and he need to take responsibility, public responsibility for all of this. So this is very important, because when we feel equal in this process, that everyone can feel like a leader and everyone can feel like a normal employee, we build very strong empathy between each other. So yeah, in my opinion, this is very, very important thing. And we are nearing to the end, and I was thinking a lot about last conclusion, last sentence. And during the Atlassian Community event Wrocław presentation, I was asked a very interesting question. The question sounds, when I started to notice that our values were dying, could I have taken action to avoid? Or in other words, was it really necessary, all those mistakes? And now I think the time for mistakes was very necessary. To successfully implement such a specific system, it requires many mental changes in the company. There must be people who are authentic examples that this system works. You have to create a safe and supportive environment in which people trust each other and are able to share very deep experiences and see value in it. So this time and the path we went through were necessary for us to be able to successfully adapt this specific program.
And this is the promised end. So thank you very much for your attention once again. Thank you for the ability for us to actually present. And just one last reminder, if you guys want, join us at the webinar. We are very stoked about this. Do you actually have any questions? That's the last question from us.
So there's some questions in the Q&A.
Okay.
So what was the most difficult during the introduction of the program?
If I could just stop sharing. Could you repeat, please?
I guess so. There's a question: is what is the most difficult? I say part. I'm assuming part during the introduction of the program.
I think we both can say that at first, perhaps kind of breaking this hesitation from our employees and actually explaining to them what the system truly is, that they can thank everybody for anything and that everyone is equal, you won't be judged for it, because it does require a little bit of a mindset shift, right? Also, I think at first, personally, both me and Magda, I think there's some kind of pressure to make the first kudos message great, amazing, the best of all time. So always hitting the first cent is always tough. But once you keep it moving, keep it rolling, it just keeps getting better every time.
Yeah, I remember I have lots of emotion before I started writing the first message, because first kudos is what it was for me. So, I am a creator, so it was big pressure on my head that this kudos will be a model how it should be. And and I remember that pressure and the lots of emotions which were around me, and very, very big pressure.
We have a couple more questions. So next question is, what types of metrics and insights do you pull from Jira?
What type of metrics and insights? So we actually can generate some reports, right, that are available in Jira themselves. And what data we are able to pull is how many kudos in general there were sent so far throughout the past 7 months. And also, I think it's a very interesting statistics, which value gets the most kudos.
And we can receive all those information native from Jira. So it is in assets, and we can create lots of report about, like Ola mentioned, which value is the most popular, or who received the best,
the most
kudos.
The most kudos, yes.
Very cool. Okay, we got another question. It says, how can a team begin a process of systematic and positive feedback?
Here.
Can a team begin a process of systematic
positive feedback? What would you say?
It's very difficult task. Because I was spending a lot of time to explain how important it is, how important it should be, especially for manager, to notice and start working with positive feedback. And honestly, it was this process. It is my first success in this topic. I try a lot of other things and nothing works, because lots of people treat positive feedback like something obviously. Okay, you do it well, so I don't need to say anything. And I fight with this kind of vision about
positive
environment work.
All right. We have 2 more questions, and if there's any questions after that, we'll just answer in the chat. So I do have a question. So how do you support employees who may not be naturally expressive or comfortable with giving public praise?
So I think the hesitation is natural to be present, and it's absolutely okay. What actually I think Magda keeps doing, and I think it's a really good practice, because the system is a possibility but not an obligation. You cannot force someone to give kudos, but you can try to explain to them what it means, why perhaps they should, or why the ability is important for them in daily life, the positive feedback part. And we had this, we also have the
special meeting,
yes.
And the name is Hippocampus. It's once a month, and this is a special time when we are discuss about values, about our culture organization. And this is very informal meeting. Everyone can say something with truth, and it must be, maybe it don't must be, but it should be critical because we want to change something to be better. So yeah, the hippocampus, it's a very nice meeting in our company.
Okay. And then Ben also had a question. So his question is, have there been any surprises since the start of the program?
Yeah, actually, we did have one. So after we pulled up the assets and the reports, even though you remember that our values were democratically chosen and all of us participated in the choice, but later, actually a couple of weeks ago, yeah, we looked at the statistics. As it turns out, there is one value that has not been assigned any kudos yet, and that's transparency, right?
Yeah.
So we're kind of wondering what to do with that information, and
probably this value just died. So it's very funny because no one of us was aware of this situation. No one of us noticed that this value has never been chosen. So yeah, it's very interesting.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank
if there's
you.
any other questions, just put them in the Q&A section, and I'm going to move over to Christos, and he's going to start the presentation for Gaspar AI.
Right. We're good to go. So thanks, Anthony, and rest of the Houston AC team for having us here today at this great event. So I'm Christos. I work for Gaspar AI, and I'm going to present the solution of what can you do when it comes to some of the challenges that you may have in your service desk. But first, let's talk about who we are. We are a transformative enterprise support platform built to simplify and enhance workplace efficiency. We empower business to optimize support costs, resolve issues faster, and boost employee satisfaction. Many of you, probably you work on the service desk teams. We have two products, and I'm going to relate a lot on the service desk teams. And we all have been facing a lot of challenges, right? And I have listed some of those challenges here, and I'm sure you may relate with some of those. It would be interesting to hear if there are some other challenges that you're facing in your service desk teams and are not listed here. So the most popular we have seen is that ticket volume is going up. Also, we have gotten that knowledge management is siloed in many different places. We have got as a challenge that there is a gap when it comes to talent and well-being. Another one is that especially when companies are looking for AI implementation, there's a lot of challenge when it comes to security, compliance, and governance. Another one that we have shown is the tool sprawl and the integration depth. And finally, the last two is that in today's service desk teams, we need to measure the real experience, not just the SLAs. And when we talk about the real experience, we talk about the employees, right? And also the agent experience. And finally, for any new project, any new potential AI implementation, there's a challenge with change management and stakeholder buy-in. So overall, one of what we have seen in the space of the service desk / ITSM industry is that, especially after COVID, the last years, we have seen an increasing ticket volume and repetitive requests because people working from different areas, many companies became hybrid or remote. So you still have the same people as your agents on your service desk, and employees work in different areas, they're going to have more problems. So as you have same amount of people, of course, you're going to be like a slow response increased by 55% and resolution times. And overall, there's been like an increasing cost per ticket, right? So one solutions that you have for that is like try to enhance like AI in your service desk teams to optimize costs and make your employees more productive. For those that are very technical, I would like to share a very high-level overview of our stack. Happy to get into more details if you want offline. So overall, like, because as an end user, you see a product, but it's very good to understand like how this product is built, right? So we use Python for our services. We have built everything on top of the Jacon framework. We have a lot of asynchronous tasks handled by Dramatic and Redis. Our database relies on Postgres, and we use a semi-isolated database schema. But overall, like, what can we help service desk team today is to address by challenges? We can help address some of those challenges by having 40 to 50% of your employee requests to not be handled by humans, handled by a bot. And the UI of those for our product is either Slack, Microsoft Teams, and of course the Jira Service Management portal. Since like Jira Service Management and Confluence are the two core products that we integrate with, and we sit on top of those products in our effort to make your service desk team to address some of the existing challenges. Overall, like it's built tailored to your needs, and you can choose which feature you want in a very short deployment time. But before starting play with the product, from a technical perspective, it's also very important to understand that there are some key components that we have to integrate with, right? One of that is the SSO, of course, for security and know who are the users and what are your existing groups and mailing list. The ITSM, which in that case is Jira Service Management, messaging, which is, as we said, Slack, Microsoft Teams, and the Jira Service Management portals, which sit on top of it. And also knowledge, Confluence, but also like Confluence is the quarterback, but also we can connect to other knowledge that you may have within the organization as part of your service desk deployment. AI is very buzzword, right? And we all talk about AI. You have seen a lot of, it's been like crazy what's happening the last 2.5 years. So that's why I want to share a bit of overview, like what is happening behind the scenes. So as you can see, and you can understand a lot about how an AI system works. I think it will be important as you move with the AI implementations to have those questions and considerations to ask. So we use deep learning models. BERT is one of those that we use. We have found this one to be very good with when it comes to like short text, especially. We have found out that when users go on Slack and Teams, they behave differently in the way that they would go to Jira Service Management and fill in like a service request or an incident through the portal. Usually on Slack and Teams, it's way more shorter, the context that the user write. Also, of course, LLMs, like there's a full transparency in terms of like what LLMs we use. We are here to meet all of the requirements that probably are being imposed by your security team. And we can do open source, an LLM like such as like Llama 3, Llama 4 actually that came out now. And of course, for if you don't want to go with open source, but you want to use some proprietary LLMs, you can use ChatGPT. Finally, another basic word that you might have used the last years, we use Elasticsearch engine, where we index everything from knowledge, tickets, articles, applications, everything is indexed there per customer. So another thing that I'd like to talk more on what's happening behind the scenes, you get, usually you get a query, the query is either something that you will write on Slack or either on DM or a public channel on your Microsoft Teams instance, or either on the Jira Service Management portal. And then we get that query, we send it back to the AI flow that you saw behind. And then the AI will come back and it will say okay, I think this is an automation, or I think this is the user is asking specific information, which can be found on an application or a document, or the user might be asking for specific information that it might be sit somewhere on Confluence or any other knowledge management system that you may use in organization. And or might be something that none of the above of the three above, but might be something with a small talk, a dialogue that you want to have with Gaspar. So we have those 4 queries that we recognize, and we have enabled a machine learning system and rules used for query type recognition. When it comes to our knowledge base and index and retrieval, we can, for example, we can index everything from your Confluence and from other connectors that you may want to use. You can retrieve answers, and some of the technology used are as we said, Elasticsearch, Llama Index, and Appendix. The things that we take is the title, time, and some keywords, and we store it in a way that it's very easy to search them and find them. Using information retrieval, this is the ability to get information, individual, personalized company-related information from the SaaS applications that are connected to Gaspar. We have access only to things that you allow us, so you have fully control in things that can go through our AI engine. If you don't want to have things going through, you just simply don't let us index that specific information. But imagine when you go through your service desk operations that you may have to find information usually from 2-3 different applications, but instead of doing that, you can just simply ask Gaspar. We are connected to those systems and can get immediately the informations. And of course, some technology that we use is RAG and the LLMs that we mentioned based on what are the security requirements based on the organization. It's worth mentioning that yes, Atlassian is the quarterback, is the database, the key systems, but as we always seen, in the NI space, it's good to have other connectors, so you can also get a list of some other connectors that we have in place. That's it.
Thank you very much for that presentation. I do have a couple of questions that came up. So I have a question. What are some of the main challenges that customers should be aware of when they go through an AI?
The question makes some noise. I don't hear you very well.
I think there it is. Yeah, so the question is that I have, what are some of the main challenges that customers should be aware of when they go through an AI implementation?
Yes. It's not that easy to you connect to your system and then it's going to be accurate, right? Accuracy is a very big problem that we have seen and a misconception. So I think it's important to always clarify what level of accuracy you want to expect. I always give the example that OpenAI has been trained of billions of data for many years and it still hallucinates. So accuracy is a very important factor to set up when you talk with any team you might talk to about for a AI implementation, and make sure that you put that actually somewhere written, that what's the minimum KPI that a vendor can reach. Because imagine talking to a conversational bot and it doesn't understand what you're asking. Immediately we're going to lose the user experience, and nobody will be happy. So I think the solution for us is like to have the key stakeholders, like make sure that we meet the milestones, and then before we go live, we are definitely at 90% accuracy and above.
All right, good. So we have another question. So can Gaspar be hosted on customers' cloud or an on-prem infrastructure?
Yes, that's another question that we get, that it's very comes often, is because it's all about with the LLMs. There's a lot of like opinions that you can search online, and people worried, and they might have the point, like, where is my data? What do you do with my data, right? So I think the solution for that is that we have found, at least, is like we can deploy our product and we can patch it and we can have it sit either in your own infrastructure. That might be your cloud provider, for example, like AWS or Google Cloud, or even you have any on-prem components, we can even host it there. That's why we ensure that you get the connectors, the LLMs, and the data, the training of the model, everything, which is tailor-made for you. But also you as a customer, you ensure that the data will never leave your environment.
Okay, I've got a couple more questions for you. So the one is, how does integration with the company's custom internal LLM work?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Sure. It says, Damien asked is, how does integration with a company's custom internal LLM work?
Oh, okay, understand. Yes, yes. If you have your own LLM, yes, we can connect to your own LLM, so you don't have to use the ones that we have in place.
Okay, so this is something that I know that comes up often when I was doing implementations. Is, how do you deal with permissions on files, like for instance, like Confluence users when it talks to Gaspar?
Yeah, we fully respect the permissions done by the API itself, right? So, for example, like Confluence, you have all those permissions for groups, for files, right? So, or for spaces even. So we fully respect, and if, like, for example, Anthony have specific access to a specific Confluence space, he or she like won't be able to, when asks questions for that file, they won't get a response. On top of that, you can also, like, we have a group management capability that you can also actually set your own extra permissions if you want. So it's fully respected, and that goes for other connectors, not only just Confluence.
Okay, it looks like we have one more question. Let's see where to go. So I know earlier you brought up around the service desk, you had some metrics. So the question came in around then. So is it common for a large Jira platform to have multiple service desks?
Yes.
You want to add a little more context to that, or?
It's common because, like, they have, based, depending on how big is the company, like they might have different service desk, and not based on region, right? Or maybe based on teams, they might have their own a different service desk, and that's like, it's a way on how you want to approach that to solve, like, to be like have one solution sitting on top of your multiple Jira service. But yes, we have seen that type of implementation, and we can support multiple service desks.
All right, thank you. All right, let's see. It doesn't look like there's any other questions, but thank you very much for your presentation. We're going to move on to our next sponsor. That's going to be from Haiku.
Hi, everybody. I've loved the 2 sessions so far. They've been awesome. I wanted to introduce myself. I'm Andy Fernandez here on the product team of Haiku, one of Anthony's colleagues as well, and we are a sponsor of this specific ACE event. So I wanted to thank you all for your time, for the attention, and just for a second, I wanted to tell you a little bit about Haiku and our position here, and why we're so embedded in this community. Before I do that, though, I think we do refer to ourselves as the greatest of all time humbly within data protection. This is why every single office has a little goat here, because we do consider ourselves the goats of data protection. While I share a little bit of Haiku, I do want to share my screen here. And the way that I would describe Haiku, and for those who are thinking, what does it actually stand for? Is it a Japanese poem? Is it HYCU? The company's pronounced Haiku, and we stand for Hybrid Cloud Uptime. We see ourselves as the only company in the world that's focused on data protection in the Atlassian system of work. So whether your organization is in your role is explicitly using Jira, Confluence, or any other service, or even things like Loom, our focus is making sure that your Atlassian stack is prepared, it's protected, and it's recoverable. And that also applies to everything else that you're using in unison. But enough about Haiku. I think the most important statement here is most of you have either already had an organization moved and migrated to the cloud or are doing so. And it's not just Atlassian that's pushing everybody to cloud. It's every single business application in the world, even IT infrastructure. Organizations in the economics of as a service are making people go to the cloud. The biggest mistake any organization can make is then assume, well, it's not in my data center. I can't see or hear my tenant anymore. Therefore, I think I'm okay. And then something really bad happens and there's a screw up, whether somebody changes the asset type or there's an automation gone wrong or a good old fashioned deletion or even an insider threat. That's when organizations figure out that they actually have to have a third party backup and recovery service. So whatever it is that you do today, however you're protecting, the most important thing is if you're moving to the cloud or you're thinking about, or you're already on the cloud, make sure to back up and make sure that you can recover any types of data within Atlassian and outside in that system of work.
You have two more quick questions I want to kind of throw back to Christos. So Damien had asked, do you have any analytics around engagements? Are your less technical business teams reducing the number of issues by using the bot?
Analytics about engagements for the customers?
Yeah, it's in the Q&A section. It says, do you have any analytics around engagements? Are your less technical business teams reducing the number of issues by using the bot?
Yes. We can we achieve like a 50% reduction in the number of tickets that they need human involvement. So,
yeah.
And also like they have a dashboard all the time that they can see real time, like how many tickets, how many queries got deflected or tickets resolved by Gaspar that they didn't get the human involvement.
All right, cool. Thank you. All right, so I want to first thank you for your participation and your time. We hope that you found this session valuable. So we already did our giveaways. So just a couple things. If you scan this QR code, we have a list of resources from the Houston ACE that may interest you. You can also join us in our community if you're not a member already. And you can also follow us on social media and stay in touch. Okay. So we do have a couple other events coming up. So we are co-hosting 2 other events for another chapter. These are virtual events. One's going to be on June 11th. It's Understanding the Full Atlassian Toolset. And then we have a second one on June 24th, which is Learning the Atlassian Way. Then we have 2 in-person events coming up for those that are in the Texas area, especially Houston. We have one for Hypervelocity ITSM. It's going to be at a vintage car dealership. There'll be a racing simulator that you'll be able to play with at the event, and that's on July 28th. And then we do have an event coming up later in the year. We just put the event back up today. It'll be at a horse ranch. We'll have barbecue events for both adults and children. It'll be a family-themed event. So if you are in the Texas region and want to come over and hang out for the day on October 18th, it'll be an outdoor event with multiple different activities. So again, thank you for joining. When you get your survey, feel free to provide your input and let us know what you thought of the session. And we look forward to seeing you at future events. Again, thank you to Appsvio, Gaspar AI, and Haiku for sponsoring the event and presenting. And look forward to the next event.
Thank you.
Thank you as well. Looking forward to the next events. And have a good day.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye.
See y'all.